The quantum communicator aboard the International Space Station, Unity, had been silent for its entire 15-year existence. Humanity had launched it hoping to catch whispers of intelligent life among the stars, but year after year, it detected nothing but the usual cosmic background noise. That changed on what would have otherwise been an ordinary Tuesday in March 2157. Commander Elena Santos was completing her routine maintenance check when the device erupted into life, its crystalline matrix pulsing with an otherworldly blue light. The message it received was simple, yet devastating. To any spacefaring civilization, we are the Xylaxians. Our worlds burn. The Ravagers consume everything. Please, help us. Within hours, the United Earth Defense Council convened in their underground chamber beneath Geneva. The holographic projections of military leaders, scientists, and politicians flickered as they debated humanity's response. The Xylaxian transmission included coordinates and technical data that proved their existence beyond any doubt. They were real, they were advanced, and they were dying. Admiral James Chen stood at the center of the chamber, his weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of tactical displays. "We have spent centuries preparing for this moment," he declared, his voice steady despite the weight of history pressing down on them all. "We built our fleet not just to defend Earth, but to protect those who cannot protect themselves. I say we answer their call." Not everyone agreed. "We have no obligation to these aliens," argued Defense Minister Williams, her hologram flickering with interference. "Our fleet exists to protect Earth, not to fight someone else's war." "With all due respect, Minister," Chen countered, "if these Ravagers are as powerful as the Xylaxians claim, they'll eventually find Earth. Better to fight them now, with allies, than alone later." The debate raged for hours, but in the end, humanity's compassion and pragmatism won out. The United Earth Defense Fleet would answer the call. What no one knew then was that this decision would reveal humanity's unique place in the galaxy. Within days, Earth's most powerful combat fleet assembled in high orbit. 10 capital ships, each nearly a kilometer long, formed the backbone of the response force. The flagship, UES Intrepid, carried Admiral Chen and the most advanced weapons humanity had ever developed. 30 smaller frigates and countless support vessels completed the armada. As the fleet prepared to depart, Dr. Sarah Mitchell, the foremost expert on the quantum communicator, made a startling discovery. The Xylaxians' technical data contained more than just coordinates. It included detailed information about galactic civilizations, including humanity's classification. Earth was labeled a Class 13 death world, and humans were considered extreme environmental adaptation species. The revelation sparked both pride and concern among the crew. "They think we're monsters," Lieutenant Commander David Pytel said, reviewing the data in the Intrepid's tactical center. "According to this, most spacefaring species evolved on worlds with minimal environmental challenges. No extreme temperatures, low gravity, few predators." "Then they're in for a surprise," Chen replied, studying the holographic display of their planned route. "Our Deathworld adaptations might be exactly what they need." The fleet's departure was witnessed by billions. Humanity's first intentional venture beyond the solar system would either mark the beginning of their integration into galactic society or lead to their destruction. As the ships engaged their experimental fold drives, Chen recorded one final message to Earth. "We go forth not knowing if we will return, but knowing that our actions today will define humanity's place among the stars. We were born on a world that tried to kill us every day, and we not only survived, we thrived. Now we'll show the galaxy what the children of Earth can do." The journey would take 3 weeks, even with the fold drives. During that time, the fleet received more detailed information about their enemy. The Ravagers were a species that had evolved from pack hunters, maintaining their predatory nature even after achieving spacefaring capability. They attacked civilian populations not just for resources, but for the thrill of the hunt. Their ships were heavily armored, their weapons designed to cause maximum suffering before death. But they had never encountered humans before. As the fleet approached Xylaxian space, they detected the signs of ongoing battle. The Ravager ships were massive, organic-looking vessels that moved with predatory grace. They were currently laying siege to a Xylaxian colony world, their weapons systematically destroying orbital defenses. Battle stations, Chen ordered, his voice calm but firm. All ships, prepare for combat deployment. Let's show these hunters what it means to face prey that fights back. The Ravager ships detected the human fleet's approach but showed no concern. Their sensors classified the vessels as belonging to an unknown species, but their size and number didn't suggest a serious threat. That assumption would prove to be their first mistake. They're not even moving to engage us, Tactical Officer Lieutenant Sarah Wong reported. They're continuing their attack on the Xylaxian defenses. Perfect, Chen smiled. Deploy the Wolfpack formations. Let's see how they handle hunting pack tactics turned against them. The human fleet split into predetermined groups, each designed to take advantage of their ship's unique capabilities. The frigates, smaller and more maneuverable than anything the Ravagers had encountered, darted between the larger vessels like schools of fish. But these fish had teeth. The first volley of human weapons caught the Ravagers completely by surprise. Electromagnetic pulses, designed to disable Earth's most sophisticated weapons, tore through their organic ship's neural networks. Kinetic strike weapons, accelerated to relativistic speeds, punched through their supposedly impenetrable armor like paper. Multiple direct hits, Wong reported, excitement creeping into her professional demeanor. Their shields were calibrated for energy weapons, not physical projectiles. They're adapting, but slowly. The Ravagers' response was furious but uncoordinated. They had never faced an enemy that could match their aggression, let alone exceed it. Their weapons, while powerful, were designed to break the will of physically weaker species, against humans who had evolved to endure and overcome far worse on their homeworld. Such psychological warfare proved ineffective. As the battle raged, the Xylaxian defenders watched in awe. The new arrivals fought with a ferocity that matched the Ravagers, but tempered with discipline and strategy. Their ships moved in ways that seemed to defy physics, their crews apparently unaffected by forces that would have killed most species. The tide turned decisively when Chen ordered the deployment of the Intrepid's main weapon, the Earthshaker. The massive railgun, powered by a miniature star contained within the ship, fired a single round that split one of the largest Ravager vessels in half. Signal the Ravager command ship, Chen ordered as the enemy fleet began to break formation. Tell them this is their only warning. Leave Xylaxian space, or we'll show them what humanity does to those who prey on the innocent. The Ravagers retreated, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had announced its presence on the galactic stage, not with diplomatic overtures, but with a demonstration of power that would send shockwaves through civilized space. As the human fleet moved to secure the Xylaxian colony, Chen received a transmission from the planet's surface. The alien's holographic form was tall and graceful, with crystalline features that caught the light in mesmerizing ways. "I am First Speaker Lyra," the Xylaxian announced. "We had hoped for aid, but we never expected this. Your people are unlike any we have encountered." "We're beginning to understand that," Chen replied. "But where we come from, standing by while others suffer isn't an option. We call it humanity." As medical ships began delivering aid to the damaged colony, Chen knew that everything had changed. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, and they had done so not with fear or hesitation, but with the same determination that had allowed them to survive and thrive on their beautiful, terrible Deathworld. News of the battle spread through the galactic information networks faster than light itself. The quantum arrays that connected civilized species buzzed with reports of the impossible. A previously unknown species from an uncontacted Deathworld had not only engaged the dreaded Ravagers, but had driven them away. More shocking still, They had done so while suffering minimal casualties. The Galactic Council, which had spent centuries documenting and containing threats like the Ravagers, convened an emergency session. The Grand Chamber on Station Zero, suspended in the neutral space between major powers, filled with representatives from dozens of species. Their forms varied wildly, some floating in specialized environment bubbles, others projected as holograms from their homeworlds. High Counselor Vexterra, an ancient being from one of the first spacefaring races, called the session to order. "We face an unprecedented situation." Their melodic voice resonated through the chamber. A species from a Class 13 world has not only achieved spaceflight, but has demonstrated military capabilities that exceed our projections by several orders of magnitude. The chamber erupted in concerned murmuring. Class 13 worlds were considered so hostile that most species couldn't even land on them without extensive environmental protection. The idea that intelligent life could evolve there, let alone thrive, had been considered nearly impossible. Ambassador Lyra of the Zalaxians rose to speak. After the battle, she had been quickly appointed as their representative to handle human relations. "I have personally witnessed their capabilities," she announced, her crystalline form catching the light. "Without the humans' intervention, our colony would have fallen. Their ships moved in ways we thought impossible, their crews functioning under stresses that would kill most of us instantly." The Council's scientific advisor, Dr. Ixel, projected a holographic display of human physiological data gathered during the battle. "Their adaptations are remarkable," the multi-limbed scientist explained. "Their endoskeletal structure can withstand forces that would shatter our strongest materials. Their nervous systems process information at rates we previously thought impossible for organic beings. Most incredibly, they can survive in environmental conditions that vary by hundreds of degrees in temperature and pressure." Back on the UES Intrepid, Admiral Chen received the Council's transmission with a mixture of amusement and concern. The political officers had warned him this might happen. Other species might fear humanity's capabilities as much as they feared the Ravagers. "They're discussing containment protocols," Lieutenant Commander Patol reported, monitoring the diplomatic channels. "Some members want to classify Earth as a restricted zone and limit our space travel." Chen smiled grimly. "How do they plan to enforce that? They've seen what our ships can do." He turned to his communication officer. "Open a channel to the Council." It's time they understood exactly who they're dealing with. The Council chamber fell silent as Chen's hologram appeared before them. He stood straight and proud, his uniform bearing the scars of recent battle. "Honorable members of the Council," he began, "I understand your concerns, but I suggest you consider this carefully. We didn't leave Earth looking for a fight. We came because someone asked for help." He gestured, and holographic displays showed the battle footage from multiple angles. "Yes, we're strong. We had to be. Our world forced us to adapt or die. But strength isn't the same as aggression. Throughout our history, humanity's greatest achievements came not from conquering others, but from protecting them." As if to underscore his point, new data streamed into the Council's networks. The human medical ships had not only treated Xylaxian casualties, but had begun developing new treatment protocols that worked better than anything previously available. Human engineers were already helping rebuild the colony's defenses, incorporating ideas that the Xylaxians had never considered. "We don't want to rule the galaxy," Chen continued. "We want to help protect it. The Ravagers aren't gone. They're regrouping. When they return, they'll be stronger. We can either work together, combining your technology with our capabilities, or we can each face them alone." The Council chamber erupted in debate. Some members argued for immediate military alliance with Earth, while others advocated for careful observation before any commitments were made. The discussion might have continued indefinitely if not for what happened next. Emergency alerts flashed across every screen and neural interface in the chamber. The Ravagers hadn't fled in fear. They had gone to gather reinforcements. A massive fleet, larger than any they had previously fielded, was emerging from fold space at the edges of Xylaxian territory. This is no longer a debate about potential futures, Chen declared. This is about survival. Right now, the Ravagers think they can overwhelm us with numbers. They still don't understand what they're dealing with. He turned to his crew. Signal the rest of the human fleet. Tell them to prepare for immediate deployment. The other council members watched in amazement as holographic displays showed dozens of human vessels emerging from concealed positions throughout the sector. Chen had anticipated this response and had quietly positioned reinforcements while the politicians debated. "You've seen what 10 of our ships can do," he addressed the council. "We just brought 100 more. Now you can either help us end this threat once and for all, or you can watch from the sidelines. But understand this, we will fight, not because we love war, but because we hate what these predators do to innocent people." The council's response was immediate and unprecedented. Species that had been rivals for centuries pledged their forces to the human-led defense. The Zalaxians offered their advanced sensor networks. The Arxians contributed their shield technology. Even the notoriously isolationist Quantum Collective agreed to share their FTL communications capabilities. As the combined fleet assembled, Shen received a private message from High Counselor Vexterra. Perhaps, they mused, we were wrong to fear Deathworld species. Sometimes, the most dangerous places create the strongest protectors. The human crews prepared for battle with the calm efficiency that came from generations of training. Their ships, already formidable, were being rapidly upgraded with alien technology. The Ravagers had expected to face a disorganized and fearful galaxy. Instead, they would meet a unified force led by creatures who had evolved on a world that made their worst weapons seem tame. Lieutenant Wang's voice cut through the preparations. "Admiral, the Ravager fleet is accelerating. They'll be in weapons range in 30 minutes. Chen nodded, sending orders through the newly integrated command network. "Let them come. It's time they learn that humanity doesn't just survive. We thrive on challenges, and we never face them alone." As the massive fleet moved into formation, representatives from every major species watched in awe. The humans moved with purpose and precision, coordinating complex maneuvers with casual ease. Their ships took positions that would have killed most crews from G-forces alone, yet they showed no sign of strain. "This," Chen broadcast to all ships, "is why we call Earth the cradle of humanity. It taught us that the most hostile environments can produce the strongest allies. Today, we prove that together, we're stronger than any threat we face." The Ravager fleet approached, their organic ships moving like a swarm of deadly predators. They had no way of knowing that they were about to face something unprecedented in galactic history. A coalition of spacefaring races led by beings who had evolved to overcome challenges that would have killed most species in their cribs. The battle that followed would change the galaxy forever. The void between stars erupted in fire as two of the largest fleets in galactic history clashed. The Ravager armada stretched across space like a dark cloud, their biomechanical ships pulsing with malevolent energy. Facing them was the newly formed Alliance fleet, its core built around humanity's warships, now enhanced with technology from a dozen different species. Admiral Chen watched the tactical display aboard the UES Intrepid, his expression calm despite the chaos unfolding around them. The Ravagers had brought over 300 ships, outnumbering the Alliance fleet nearly 2-1. But numbers weren't everything, especially not against humans. "All ships, execute battle plan Thermopylae," Chen ordered through the quantum-enhanced command network. The human concept of using terrain in space combat had initially confused their allies, but they were about to witness its effectiveness firsthand. The Alliance fleet began a seemingly chaotic retreat toward a nearby stellar phenomenon, a dense field of electromagnetic disturbances caused by a dying star. To most species, such areas were considered too dangerous for combat operations. To humans, it was perfect cover. "They're pursuing exactly as predicted," Lieutenant Commander Patel reported, monitoring the enemy movements. "Their biological ships are more sensitive to electromagnetic interference than ours. They think they're herding us into a trap." The Ravager fleet pressed their advantage, their ships accelerating as they sensed weakening prey. Their organic vessels were designed to instill terror, with massive jaws that could tear through conventional armor and tentacles crackling with energy weapons. They had never lost a major engagement before encountering humanity. They were about to learn why that had changed. Now, Chen commanded as the Alliance fleet reached the predetermined position. Hidden throughout the electromagnetic field, dozens of automated weapons platforms, a human innovation rapidly manufactured using Arxian technology, powered up simultaneously. The Ravagers found themselves caught in a massive crossfire. But this was just the beginning. The Alliance fleet split into smaller groups, each executing maneuvers that would have killed most alien crews. Human ships led each formation, their crews barely noticing G-forces that would have rendered other species unconscious, while their allies provided fire support from safer positions. Quantum collective targeting data is coming through, Wang announced from her tactical station. Their predictive algorithms are giving us 98% accuracy on Ravager weak points. The battle transformed into a deadly dance of technology and evolution. Human warships dove through gaps in the Ravager formation that their enemies thought too small to navigate, while Zylaxian sensors guided their shots to precisely the right spots. Arxian shields flickered and adapted to each new Ravager weapon, growing stronger with each attack. On the Ravager flagship, the Hive commander watched in growing confusion and rage. These prey species were fighting differently than any opponent they had faced before. The humans moved like predators themselves, but with a precision and coordination that the Ravagers had never mastered. Worse, they were teaching these tactics to their allies. Multiple Ravager ships attempting to disengage, Paddle reported. They're trying to regroup outside the electromagnetic field. Chen's expression hardened. Not this time. Signal the Quantum Collective. Execute Operation Checkmate. Throughout the battle zone, previously dormant quantum entanglement devices, another gift from humanity's new allies, activated simultaneously. The Ravagers' biological navigation systems, already strained by the electromagnetic interference, completely failed. Their attempted retreat turned into chaos as ships collided with each other or flew blindly into the Alliance's killing zones. But the Ravagers hadn't become the galaxy's apex predators through weakness. Their flagship launched a desperate counterattack, its massive form charging directly at the Alliance command ships. The biological vessel's surface rippled as it activated previously unseen weapons, firing beams of pure plasma that could melt through any known armor. Evasive action, Chen ordered, but he knew some ships wouldn't be able to move in time. This was the moment that would demonstrate whether the Alliance could truly work together under pressure. The Quantum Collective's ships moved first, their advanced shields absorbing the initial plasma bursts. This gave the Zylaxian vessels time to analyze the weapon's frequency and transmit countermeasure data to the entire fleet. Human gunners, with their superior reaction speeds, used this information to target the plasma emitters with devastating accuracy. The Ravager flagship's attack faltered as its primary weapons were systematically destroyed. But it wasn't finished yet. The massive ship's biological armor began to split apart, revealing something that shocked even the humans. It was carrying thousands of boarding pods, each containing dozens of Ravager warriors. They're attempting to board multiple ships simultaneously, Wang reported, her voice tight with concern. The Zylaxian and Arxian vessels don't have the internal defenses to repel this many boarders. Chen's response was immediate. All human marine units, prepare for emergency deployment. Coordinate with Alliance vessels to repel boarders. Show them what happens when they try to hunt the hunters. What followed was a demonstration of why humans were classified as Deathworld species. In the confined spaces of starship corridors, human marines proved even more terrifying than their vessels. Their bodies, evolved to survive Earth's punishing gravity and endless threats, made them nearly unstoppable in close combat. Ravager warriors, used to terrorizing physically weaker species, found themselves facing opponents who could match their strength and exceed their speed. Human Marines adapted instantly to different gravity conditions, fought through nerve toxins that would have killed most species, and coordinated their actions with a precision that the pack-minded Ravagers couldn't match. On board the Arxian science vessel, Infinite Curiosity, a squad of human Marines led by Sergeant Maria Ramirez demonstrated why Earth's predators were feared even among Deathworld species. When Ravager boarders breached the hull, they expected to find easy prey. Instead, they met humans fighting alongside their alien allies, using tactics that combined human combat experience with alien technology. Remember your training, Ramirez commanded as her squad moved through the ship's corridors. They're built for intimidation. We're built for survival. Use that against them. The Marines employed techniques that would have seemed insane to most species. They used the ship's variable gravity systems to change their fighting environment mid-combat, something that confused and disoriented the Ravagers. They sealed sections and vented atmosphere, knowing their environment suits could handle vacuum better than the Ravagers' biological adaptations. Back on the Intrepid's bridge, Chen watched as the tide of battle turned definitively in the Alliance's favor. The Ravager boarding attacks, rather than weakening the Alliance, had given humanity another chance to prove their worth as allies. "Sir," Wang reported, "we're receiving surrender signals from multiple Ravager vessels. Their flagship's command structure appears to have collapsed after seeing the boarding action footage." Chen nodded grimly. "Accept their surrender, but maintain battle readiness. Signal all ships, prepare to receive prisoners." As the battle wound down, the full extent of what had happened began to sink in. The Alliance had not just defeated the Ravagers, they had broken them as a significant military force. More importantly, they had done it through cooperation, combining the strengths of multiple species in ways that made them all stronger. The Quantum Collective's analysts were already processing the battle data, their artificial minds noting how human intuition had complemented their logical precision. The Zalaxians marveled at how their defensive technology had been used in ways they had never imagined. The Arxians began drafting proposals for new hybrid technologies that would combine human durability with their advanced science. But perhaps most significantly, the galaxy's political structure was shifting. Species that had viewed Deathworld adaptations with fear were beginning to see them differently. Humanity had proved that being dangerous didn't mean being destructive. Sometimes, the strongest guardians came from the harshest beginnings. As the Alliance fleet regrouped and began rescue operations, Chen received a message from High Counselor Vexterra. "It seems," they said, "that we have all been educated today. Perhaps it is time to rewrite our understanding of what makes a species truly advanced." The battle was over, but its implications were just beginning to unfold across the galaxy. Humanity had not just won a military victory. They had demonstrated a new way forward for all spacefaring species. The age of isolation was ending, replaced by an era of cooperation between worlds both gentle and harsh. And somewhere in the darkness between stars, other species were watching, reconsidering their attitudes toward the creatures from Earth who had changed everything. The weeks following the Great Battle brought changes that rippled through galactic civilization. Station Zero, once a purely political hub, had transformed into the heart of the most ambitious joint military-scientific endeavor in known space. The massive station's corridors now buzzed with activity as humans worked alongside their alien counterparts, each learning from the other's strengths. Admiral Chen stood in the newly established Alliance Command Center, watching as human tactical officers coordinated with Quantum Collective AIs and Zylaxian strategists. The holographic displays showed the ongoing operations against remaining Ravager strongholds, but something else had caught his attention. "They're adapting faster than we expected," Dr. Sarah Mitchell observed, now serving as the chief liaison between human and alien scientific teams. She gestured to a display showing the latest breakthrough: a human Marine wearing powered armor that incorporated Arxian crystal technology and Zalaxian neural interfaces. "The real surprise is how quickly they're adapting to us," Chen replied. The aliens' initial fear of humans had transformed into fascination. Species that had evolved in gentle environments were learning that strength didn't have to mean brutality. In one of Station Zero's research labs, Lieutenant Wong worked with a team of quantum collective engineers. They were studying footage from the battle, particularly the moments when human intuition had complemented AI precision in ways that had proved devastating to the Ravagers. Your species processes threat responses in a unique way. The collective's primary interface, a shimmering holographic form, observed. You don't just react faster, you anticipate in patterns we hadn't considered possible for organic minds. Wong smiled as she manipulated the holographic combat data. We had to evolve that way. On Earth, predators don't announce their attacks. You either learn to read the subtle signs, or you don't survive to pass on your genes. The collaboration was yielding results faster than anyone had predicted. Human ships were being retrofitted with hybrid systems that combined Earth's robust engineering with alien technological sophistication. The Arxians' energy shields, once vulnerable to certain types of attacks, were being reinforced using principles derived from human cellular repair mechanisms. But not all the changes were technological. In the station's civilian sectors, cultural exchange was happening at an equally rapid pace. Humans were teaching their alien allies about concepts like music, art, and competitive sports, ideas that many species had never considered. In return, they were learning new ways of thinking about consciousness, community, and the nature of reality itself. The Zylaxian ambassador, Lyra, found herself particularly intrigued by human meditation techniques. Your species evolved in constant danger, she noted during a diplomatic reception, yet you developed methods to find inner peace. This contradicts our previous theories about Deathworld psychology. Commander Elena Santos, who had received the first alien distress signal months ago, had been tasked with explaining human culture to their allies. Survival isn't just about physical adaptation, she explained. We learn that mental resilience is just as important. Sometimes, the ability to find calm in chaos is what keeps you alive. But amid the promising developments, a new challenge was emerging. The Quantum Collective's vast sensor network had detected unusual activity in the galactic core. The remaining Ravager forces weren't simply hiding. They were changing. In a secure briefing room, Chen met with the Alliance's senior leadership. The holographic displays showed evidence that the Ravagers were incorporating stolen technology into their biological systems in ways that even the Quantum Collective found disturbing. They're attempting to adapt as we have, High Counselor Vexterra observed, their usually melodic voice tight with concern. But without understanding the principles behind the technology, they're creating abominations. The tactical displays showed hybrid Ravager vessels that seemed to blur the line between organic and mechanical. They had grafted salvaged shield generators directly into their living halls and were using stolen neural interfaces to create a hive mind more sophisticated than anything they had previously achieved. This is what happens when you give predators tools they're not ready for, Chen said grimly. But they're making a fundamental mistake. They think technology alone will make them stronger. Dr. Mitchell pointed to data streaming in from the Arxian research teams. The Ravagers are trying to brute force evolution, grafting on improvements without understanding the cost. Their new ships are powerful, but unstable. Their enhanced neural networks are faster, but vulnerable to overload. This revelation led to an unprecedented decision. The Alliance would share its combined knowledge not just among its current members, but with any species willing to join the fight against the Ravagers. It was a gamble. Spreading advanced technology always carried risks, but the alternative was worse. We're not just fighting a war, Chen addressed the Alliance Council. We're fighting for the future of galactic civilization. The Ravagers represent what happens when advancement comes without wisdom. We need to show there's a better way. The response exceeded all expectations. Species that had remained neutral now sought membership in the Alliance. The Quantum Collective opened its databases to organic species for the first time in its history. The Zylaxians shared their bioengineering secrets, while the Arctians revealed technological principles they had guarded for millennia. Humanity's role in this exchange proved crucial. Their experience in adapting to harsh conditions while maintaining their humanity became a model for controlled advancement. Earth's history provided endless examples of both the dangers and benefits of rapid technological change. In the shipyards orbiting Station Zero, a new class of vessel took shape, one that represented the best of what the Alliance could achieve. The UES Unity was larger than any previous human ship, incorporating technologies from every major Alliance species. But its true innovation lay in how these systems work together. The Unity isn't just a warship, Shen explained to the assembled Alliance representatives. It's proof that we're stronger together than apart. Each of our species contributed something essential, creating a whole greater than its parts. The ship's crew reflected this philosophy. Humans served alongside aliens throughout the vessel, each position carefully chosen to maximize natural strengths. In engineering, human intuition worked alongside quantum collective precision. On the bridge, Silaxian sensory perception complemented human tactical thinking. But time was running out. The transformed Ravagger fleet was growing stronger, and reports from the Galactic Core suggested they were preparing for something big. The Alliance had superior technology and training, but the Ravagers had the advantage of desperation. They had seen their dominance of space shattered by the arrival of humanity and the formation of the Alliance. Their response would either be adaptation or extinction. As the Unity prepared for its maiden voyage, Chen received a private message from the Quantum Collective. Their vast sensor networks had detected something troubling. The Ravagers weren't just adapting Alliance technology. They were incorporating something else, something ancient that had been hidden in the Galactic Core. The message concluded with a warning that sent chills through even Chen's battle-hardened spine. They have found the ruins of those who came before. The weapons they now wield were meant to be forgotten. The coming battle will determine not just the future of our Alliance, but the fate of all intelligent life in the galaxy. The stakes had just gotten higher, but Chen allowed himself a small smile. The Ravagers still hadn't learned the most important lesson about humans. They performed best when the odds seemed impossible. As he walked through the Unity's corridors, watching humans and aliens working seamlessly together, he knew they were ready for whatever came next. The final battle would test not just their strength and technology, but the bonds they had forged. The galaxy was about to discover whether the children of Earth and their alien allies could overcome the darkest shadows of the past to forge a new future among the stars. The Galactic Core blazed with unnatural light as the transformed Ravagger fleet emerged from their hidden sanctuary. Their ships were no longer purely organic. They had become twisted amalgamations of stolen technology and ancient weapons that should have remained buried. The vessels pulsed with sickly energy, their forms warped by power their creators had never meant them to contain. Aboard the UES Unity, Admiral Chen and his mixed crew of humans and aliens watched the sensor readings with growing concern. The Ravagers had found something in the core, remnants of a civilization that had vanished millions of years ago, leaving behind weapons of almost incomprehensible power. Analysis complete, the Quantum Collective's interface announced, its usual calm voice carrying an edge of genuine worry. They've integrated quantum-scale weapons designed to unmake matter itself. The original builders destroyed themselves rather than risk these weapons spreading through the galaxy. Dr. Mitchell's fingers danced across her console, correlating data from multiple species sensor systems. The energy signatures are unlike anything we've seen. They're not just breaking the laws of physics, they're rewriting them locally. The Alliance fleet had assembled in full force, over 500 ships representing every member species. The Unity led the formation, its hybrid systems humming with power. They had prepared for this confrontation, but the Ravagers' new weapons changed everything. The enemy fleet moved with unnatural precision, their enhanced neural networks allowing them to function as a single organism. At their center, a massive flagship dwarfed anything seen before in known space. Its surface rippled with cancerous growths of technology, Ancient weapons grafted onto living tissue never meant to contain such power. "They're broadcasting," Lieutenant Wong reported. The message that came through was distorted, multiple Ravager voices speaking in perfect, horrible synchronization. "We have transcended our limitations," the voices declared. "We have found the power of gods. Surrender now, and we will allow you to serve as our cattle. Resist, and we will unmake you down to your constituent atoms." Chen's response was immediate. "All ships, battle formations. They think finding ancient weapons makes them gods. Let's show them what happens when you mistake power for strength." The battle began with a demonstration of the Ravagers' new capabilities. Their flagship fired a beam of impossibly dark energy that simply erased a section of space from existence. Several Alliance ships vanished without trace, their crews and structures reduced to less than dust. But the Alliance had prepared for this fight with something the Ravagers couldn't understand: true cooperation. The Quantum Collective's predictive algorithms, merged with human intuition, had anticipated the enemy's tactics. Before the dark energy beam could claim more victims, Arxian shields flared to life, bending space itself to deflect the impossible weapon. "Now," Chen ordered, "the Unity's main weapon, a creation that combined technologies from every Alliance species, powered up." The ship's hybrid core channeled energy in ways that even its designers didn't fully understand, guided by the combined expertise of multiple civilizations. The Ravagers responded with overwhelming force, their stolen weapons tearing holes in reality itself. Space became a chaos of impossible energies and twisted physics. But where the Ravagers sought only to destroy, the Alliance fought with purpose and coordination. Human gunners, their natural reaction speeds enhanced by Xylaxian neural interfaces, targeted weak points that Quantum Collective algorithms identified. Arxian shield technicians worked alongside human engineers to adapt their defenses in real time. Each species contributed what they did best, creating a whole greater than its parts. "Their weapons are unstable," Dr. Mitchell reported, analyzing sensor data. "The power they're channeling. Their organic systems can't contain it properly. They're burning themselves out with every shot." This was the fundamental difference between the two forces. The Ravagers had found power and tried to seize it. The Alliance had built their strength through understanding and cooperation. As the battle raged, this difference became increasingly apparent. The Unity's tactical officer, a joint position shared between Lieutenant Wong and a Xylaxian sensory expert, coordinated the Alliance fleet's movements. Ships moved in patterns that exploited the chaotic space the Ravagers were creating, using the very distortions meant to destroy them as cover for their attacks. But the enemy flagship remained a devastating threat. Its weapons could erase entire squadrons from existence, and its enhanced neural network allowed it to counter tactics almost before they were implemented. The battle hung in balance, with losses mounting on both sides. Then Commander Santos, whose experience with First Contact had started this all, noticed something crucial. The Ravager neural network. It's not just coordinating their ships. It's linking their consciousness. They're thinking as one entity. This observation proved key. The Quantum Collective's analysis confirmed that the Ravagers had sacrificed individual thought for collective power. They had maximum coordination but had lost the ability to adapt and innovate. They could only escalate their attacks, not change their strategy. Chen saw the opportunity. All ships execute Protocol Prometheus. It was a strategy that could only have come from a Deathworld species, using the enemy's strength against them. The Alliance fleet split into smaller groups, each acting with apparent independence. To the Ravagers' collective consciousness, it appeared as chaos, a breakdown in coordination. Their neural network, designed to counter unified strategies, couldn't adapt to hundreds of small units acting individually. The Unity led a direct assault on the Ravager flagship, its hybrid weapons pushing the massive vessel's defenses to their limit. But this was a diversion. Throughout the battlefield, Alliance ships were positioning themselves in a complex pattern that only became apparent too late. using principles derived from Earth's own magnetic field, combined with Archean energy manipulation and Silaxian gravitational technology. They created a resonance effect. The very weapons the Ravagers had stolen began to turn against them, their unstable energies feeding back through their neural network. Their collective consciousness is their weakness, Dr. Mitchell explained as the plan unfolded. They can't shut down the feedback loop without losing their coordination. They have to choose, disconnect or burn out. The Ravagers, true to their nature, chose power over survival. Their flagship's weapons fired at full capacity, trying to overwhelm the Alliance through sheer force. But each shot only hastened their doom, the energies they couldn't properly control burning through their biological systems. The end, when it came, was both spectacular and terrible. The Ravager flagship, its systems overloaded by power it was never meant to contain, imploded. The ancient weapons turned inward, unmaking their wielders in a cascade of impossible energies. The remaining Ravager ships, their neural network shattered, fell into disarray. All ships, Chen broadcast across the Alliance network. Clean up time. Let's make sure none of those weapons survive to threaten anyone else. In the aftermath, as Alliance vessels secured the battlefield and began the process of containing the ancient weapons for study or disposal, the full impact of what had happened began to sink in. The galaxy's greatest predators had been defeated not just by superior strength, but by cooperation between species that had once feared each other. The Unity's observation deck offered a panoramic view of the galactic core, now eerily peaceful after the chaos of battle. Representatives from every Alliance species gathered there to discuss the future. The humans, once feared for their Deathworld origins, were now seen as essential partners in building that future. We learned something important today, High Counselor Vexterra addressed the assembled leaders. Power alone is not enough. The Ravagers found the weapons of gods but lacked the wisdom to use them. The Alliance succeeded because we learned from each other, combining our strengths while respecting our differences. Chen looked out at the stars, thinking of Earth and how far humanity had come. On our world, we have a saying, the strongest steel is forged in the hottest fire. Maybe that's true of civilizations too. We survived our death world not just through strength, but by learning to work together despite our differences. The Alliance would face other challenges in the years to come. The galaxy was vast, and ancient weapons weren't the only dangers hiding in its dark corners. But something fundamental had changed. Species that had once lived in fear now looked to the future with hope, knowing they faced it together. The children of Earth had emerged from their death world not as conquerors but as protectors, teaching the galaxy that true strength comes not from dominating others, but from helping them become stronger. It was a lesson written in the language of stars and steel, one that would echo through the cosmos for generations to come. And somewhere, in the vast darkness between the stars, other civilizations watched and learned, understanding at last that the most dangerous species could also be the greatest allies, if only given the chance to prove it.